Baraka in Swahili means, so this is more of, no, not luck, but blessing. This is more of a blessing outreach, a fantastic NGO making waves in Ghana. Her heart for development is truly impressive, especially when you learn, especially when, sorry for that. Her heart for development is truly impressive, especially when you learn she holds a degree in development management from the University of Development Studies. But wait, there is more. When she's not working her magic in the NGO space, she's driving change in the Republic Bank PLC, helping people secure their futures. Now, she's a woman who wears many hats with grace and energy, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have her in here. So ladies, make some noise for Trifosa as she kicks off our Chevening Scholarship session with her opening remarks. Over to you, Trifosa.
Charlene, for a minute, I was wondering if it was me you're introducing because, wow, thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm really happy to be part of this evening's learning session. And I want to appreciate the fact that every one of us took, some time of our busy schedule. It's Sunday, you would be relaxing and all, but then you decide to come and learn and benefit from whatever knowledge that will be shared today. Like a hand of applause for each and every one of us. You that well. I want to see your emojis. Like, should we have time? Anyway, most of us might already research on the topic we'll be discussing tonight, right? But for the sake of those who haven't, basically, we'll be speaking about the Chevening Scholarship. Oh, if you wonder what's the scholarship about, well, that's what we're all coming to learn. What I just know is that it's a fully founded scholarship for students to study in the UK. So it's actually an opportunity for you and I to be able to outpace our peers, by traveling abroad and then returning home with the skills, the knowledge, the network that we require to influence the change we want to see. We all want to see changes in our countries, right? Okay, so ladies, make sure you grab a pen, okay? Make sure you grab a notepad and then pay critical attention to whatever that will be discussed. Please feel free, drop your comments, use our social media handles that has already been listed. Like the facilitator said, we're on LinkedIn as the Amazon Leadership Initiative. We are on X at TheALI.org. We are on Facebook, the Amazon Leadership Initiative. We are on IG at the Amazon Leadership Initiative. Our website, www.theali.org. Email at info@theali.org. Email info@theali.org. Thank you so much once again, and then enjoy the session. Over to you, Shelly and Faithful.
Thank you so much, Trifosa. It is such a pleasure to have you here with us. And thank you for calling out the social media handle. So everyone, just minimize your screen and go and engage all our social media platforms. You can share our posts and stories so that people can join this session and we can all learn together. So to set the ball rolling, we'll be having our first speaker. And I am super excited to introduce this wonderful personality, Marin Ragne. Marin Ragne is a social work professional with expertise in community development, leadership, and social inclusion. She holds a master's degree in social and public policy from the University of Leeds and an MSc in development studies. She's from the University of Mauritius. Marin has had key roles such as operational manager at Women's Center in the United Kingdom, and currently she works as the community project manager at the National Empowerment Foundation. Marin is a yearly and Mandela Washington Fellow and a Chevening Scholar. She's also a certified trainer in leadership, and she's a founder and current president of Ray of Hope Foundation. She continues to drive positive change through community-based initiative. With your favorite emoji and excitement, can you welcome Marin Ragne? Okay,
I think
okay. I think Miss Merin has not joined the call yet. So while we wait for her to connect and join the call, I can see the fire emojis. You can continue to drop your name. I see that we have had more people join the calls. Please, can you drop your name, your location, the school you're applying to, and the program you're considering? We'll be reading the comment section.
I can see on the chat we have already been given our social media handles. We have our website, www.theali.org, Instagram at the Amazon Leadership Initiative, Facebook at the Amazon Leadership Initiative, email is info@theali.org, X at theali.org, LinkedIn is the Amazon Leadership Initiative, right? And everybody wants us to read comments. This is really nice. It means that everyone is engaged, everyone is here, and we are all excited. We are all excited. Ladies, kindly share what you want to do on the chat below. Just drop it what you want to apply. Even if you're not applying this year, this will also be informative to you for next year and the year to come. Or probably you haven't finished your undergrad and you'd want to also know more about your postgrad, thinking ahead. This will also be important to you. So probably you would want to say, oh, I want to do my bachelor's degree in this, and then I want to do I want to do my master's in this course. So just say what you want to do and probably which university in the UK that you would have wanted to take. Veronica from Kenya says she wants to apply for a master's in public health. And we are just here. Faithful Fuwila from Zambia wants to apply for a degree, a master's degree in food science and nutrition. This is amazing. This is amazing. Nice. We have Anjali who wants to apply masters in human rights and gender studies. Oh, and did I mention I also want to do human rights I want to apply for a master's in human rights as well.
Oh, that's quite interesting. I also want to have a second master's in digital humanities.
Awesome.
Oh.
Awesome.
Okay, we have more comments. I can see some from Raisa says she wants to have a master's in educational leadership. Interesting. Anjali says she wants to consider a master's in African politics. Wow, that's where you get me. Anything African studies, everything African history, I'm interested. Oh, we have Vivian. Vivian says she wants to study a master's in business administration. Go, girl. Girl, that's interesting. And we have Tagalo. I hope I pronounced that. Oh, she has a bachelor's in ICT. Well, Chevening Scholarship is for master's programs. So tell us what course you want to study for your master's program. Oh, Melody says she wants to study in community development. Interesting. You know, that's what I love the most about Chevening programs. When I started my research, I realized they allow a lot of specialization in very, very diverse field, giving like people with very interesting ideas, platform to study.
Exactly. And just not to forget Sadat to say that she wants to apply for a master's degree in public health. And without further ado, we are going to get into our next speaker, and I'll just welcome her in. Ladies, are you ready for an inspiring and more of an innovative story? Picture this. A little girl with big dreams grew up to become a dynamic lawyer and an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. And not just any lawyer, She is a fearless trailblazer, revolutionizing the intersections of gender, technology, and law across sub-Saharan Africa. Do you want to hear more? Well, here's an exciting part. She's a champion for women's online safety, leading the change against gender bias in AI. Driven by her tech-savvy brilliance, she founded the SafeOnline Women Kenya, launching life-changing projects like Safe Her mobile app and digital literacy programs that have empowered grassroots communities. And she's not stopping there. She's been honored with prestigious awards like the Chevening Scholarship, that is why we are all here, nice, Mandela Washington Fellowship, and the Datasphere Initiative Fellowship. Her voice echoes in global stage from AI Connect to BBC World Service. And guess what? She's been named one of the UNA UK's magazine 10 change makers to watch. Guys, her influence reaches from UNESCO to global summits, shaping conversations on digital rights and gender equity. And now, we also get the privilege to have her here with us today. And I just want to share a fun fact with you guys. I knew Lilian back when she was at Moi University School of Law, and I can't tell you how much of a force of nature she is. So ladies and gentlemen, ladies, help me welcome the unstoppable Lilian Olivia Orero. So throw some of your favorite emojis and love just to see on the chat as we welcome Lilian. Over to you, Lilian.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm really excited to be part of the conversation, and I'm looking forward to answering all of your questions as well as provide you with the guidance that you need. Thank you.
So ladies, Lilian will be speaking to us. Lilian will be speaking to us about all that we need to know on the do's and don'ts, tips, and common mistakes that people make when applying for the Chevening scholarships. And as I can say, just you have a pen and paper, write down your questions, and we will have all of them at the Q&A session. Over to you, Miss Lilian.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to start by saying that Chevening is a very competitive scholarship, and it's a unique kind of scholarship because it's not like a purely academic scholarship. So when you're applying for this scholarship, you have to first think about what are your leadership skills, what are your networking skills, relationship building skills. And I guess that's why we are here. So first and foremost, I'd like to give the structure of the scholarship in terms of the application. So normally there are 4 main areas. We have the leadership, the networking or relationship building, the study in the UK section, as well as your career plan. I will take us through some of the do's and don'ts in coming up with your application and what to avoid doing and what you're also supposed to be doing. So the first thing is when we talk about the leadership, most of the time I have reviewed quite a number of applications and people tend to start by defining what leadership is. I'd like to say that that is not necessary. Go straight to the point because there are word limits to this application and you have to adhere to the word limits. So the minute you begin by defining what leadership is, what networking is, you're already eating up into the space that you'd be talking about your story. And before I continue, I'd also just like to mention that the views and the opinions that will be shared by myself are not from the Chevening secretariat, and they're just my own. So you are welcome to feel free to challenge me on the same. And I'd say the rule of thumb for me has always been using the STAR approach. So you would ask yourself, what is the STAR approach? So S in this particular case would stand for the situation. So if we start with the first leadership segment application question, most of the time they give you a scenario or they want to understand who are you as a leader. And so what this means is you give situations of instances you've been a leader. Is it in your school? Is it in your volunteer work? Is it in your professional capacity? And after giving that situation, you say the task. So in that role that you are holding, what task were you doing? Most of the time, another mistake people make in the application is to speak as we. You might have done some work in a group, but the Chevening Scholarship is like a bragging rights kind of scholarship. So speak about what you did, even if it's in a group setup. Illuminate more what you did. So for example, if you participated in conducting workshops and you are part of the team, you can state, I led workshops together with my teammates, or I co-created this particular project. Do not write your statements as we were doing this workshop or we did this, because the scholarship wants to see the skill set that you have as a leader. The other misconception that people have is people assume that the scholarship is given to people who already have organizations of their own. I'd say that's not the case. You could be part of an organization, yet you're not a founder. But in the role that you're doing in that organization, you're able to speak to it very well. So this scholarship is about how well you tell your story. And this story cannot be generated by ChatGPT. Neither can it be generated by someone else. So it's an introspective kind of scholarship where you have to look at your journey from all the way, I guess, since you were born to why you really want to pursue the masters that I've seen most of you have written on the comment section. So the A goes to the action. So you've told us the situation, the role you had, the task you undertook. What action did you take? So in outlining the actions, this is where you're able to give, for instance, an example of, I wrote a blog post on this, this, and that. Through this blog post, the R is the result. So as a result of the actions you took in that role, what was the impact? How many people did you reach? The other misconception is people think that impact is reaching 1,000 people. No. Provided you can easily show that you reached 5 people, that's impact. So that's how you're supposed to answer all the other 4 questions. And the next one is on networking. So networking and relationship building. So the other mistake, don't define what networking is. Go straight into how are you building relationships? Mention names of people. And as a result of these relationships that you've built, how has there been mutual benefit? Because most of the time when people network, it's always a matter of just taking. So if you're able to show what did you gain from this network, while in return, what did you give, then you're on the right track. So as a result of that, the other mistake people do is not linking all the 4 essays to the Chevening Scholarship. So I'll go back to the first essay on leadership. Fine, you've given us your story, you've given us the situation, task, action, results. At the end of it, you just do not tell us why you're a leader. And so that's why at the end of your essay, you're supposed to link all the leadership skills you've done, and based off Chevening cultivating leaders, link the two. always link your essays to Chevening. The second essay on networking. So you've given us your story, explained the people you met, the impact that relationship had, and then what you hope to gain from the Chevening network, because this scholarship would give you access to over 57,000 alumni, which is such a huge network. So if you're able to show how, based off that network, what you intend to do with the Chevening network, it adds points to your essay. The third segment is normally on the why study in the UK. And this is where I think I had someone ask, help me decide on which university. So like I earlier stated, this is a super personal journey. You have to understand why you really want this scholarship. That would mean making the Chevening website your friend. All the things we'll discuss here, the things that other scholars would also give you as tips, they're already discussed in the website. YouTube also has quite a number of videos to watch of various scholars trying to explain the application process. So in addition to what we're doing, I'd also advise you go to that, check out the website, check out the YouTube videos. And so in terms of why study in the UK, because the question would be, why not the US? So most people would try and say the master's program in the UK is just 1 year. But remember, you have to have 3 choices of university. So personally, what I did is I found a theme for my story, and it was around gender, technology, and law. So I started researching different universities. And how did I do this? So I went to the Chevening website, and Chevening partners with universities in the UK. So what I did is I prioritized UK universities that were already partners with Chevening. That I'll explain later why that helped me in a way. So sieving through the website and just typing the keywords from the course I wanted to do, I was able to see quite a number of options for myself. Another way to figure out which university you want to go to is, if you're big on wanting good rankings, universities in the UK do extremely well in the world rankings. So if you go to the QS world rankings, you can see the universities. If you want to go for the top ones that offer the course that you want, the better. Then how do you also decide which university? So for some people, through LinkedIn, that I highly recommend people to use, in one way or the other, you've been connecting with people in the industry or people in your space that are either tutors or lecturers in the various UK universities that you want to attend. So the other way would be looking at the faculty of the schools. What is so unique about that university? One mistake that people make when making applications and writing the why in the UK segment is going to the university's promotional materials, copying and pasting. I'd say don't do that. Don't do that. This journey is super personal. You have to ask yourself, what would distinguish you from 60,000 other people? So even as you write your answers to each of these essays, ask yourself, can Olivia say the same story? Would someone else say this? Like, what would make you stand out in wanting the various universities you're choosing? The other thing would be the modules. So if you look at the course you want to study, the theme, what is really drawing you to these areas? This is because sometimes if you don't apply earlier to these universities, you might get feedback way later or never get feedback. So if you did not really decide on your 3 courses very well, then it might backfire on you. So another tip I would say is, once you have identified the universities that you want to attend, start as early as now to apply to the universities. So some people decide to choose universities that don't require them to provide an English test if they did their whole academic journey in English. For some, despite having done your whole academic journey in English, would still require you to do an IELTS test or a 12 test. So for me, I decided to choose universities that don't require me to do the test, because you have to pay for that test from your pocket, and I didn't want to do that, neither did I want to go through the hassle. However, there are people who, because they really want to go to the universities they've chosen, they decide to take the path of additionally undertaking the English test. So also have that in mind. Then on to the last essay, which is the maybe make or break. It's the career path or the career plan. So in this essay, you have to really showcase why you should be getting this scholarship. I mean, if your career plan does not make sense to the UK government, then there will be no need to give you the scholarship. So what should you be doing? Remember to always link all the 4 essays with Chevening. So even study in the UK, explain how while studying in these various universities, you'd still link up with other Chevening scholars. And so when you come to your career plan, the technique I would say is have a structure. Don't just write the essay in a lump sum. So have a structure in terms of, 1, remember the scholarship requires you to come back to your home country. And so what are your immediate plans upon return? Secondly, what are your short-term plans? This could be maybe 1 to 3 or 2 years. What are your mid-term plans? This could be 3 to 5 years. And then what are your long-term plans? This could be 5 to 10 years. When you do this, your career plan should be able to showcase how the skills you would have gained from the UK university would continue in the work that you do. So were you volunteering? Were you in the advocacy space? Were you in government? Were you in public service? Show the readers that you're not just going to do a master's, then disappear without any plan. Also, do not say that this is your path to, you've really wanted to get a master's, so this is your path to furthering your studies, and you also hope to get a PhD. Getting a PhD is actually not wrong, but you won't get the scholarship because you are clearly not remembering that the Chevening Scholarship is also about leaders who are change makers and who bring impact. So I'd just like to say that if you're thinking about getting sponsored or undertaking a scholarship and then thinking about yourself, Chevening would not be the right scholarship for you, because this scholarship requires you to continue in the works that you do, continue in your impact. And then another not to do thing is, please don't submit your work without proofreading it. I know right now we have quite a number of AI tools, there's Grammarly. You can pass your essay through those and think that you're good to go, but I'd say always proofread what you've written and write the essays yourself. So do not give a third party to also write the essays on your behalf. The mistake I also see most people make is, without doing personal research, you want to just do essays and someone to review for you. So I'd recommend that flip through that Chevening website, go through the YouTube videos, and after doing that and writing your essays and you still have challenges, that's when you reach out to people. So I'd like to stop at that for now. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Lilian, for that amazing session. I really loved how you shared like very relatable tips for every single one of us. The one that particularly got to me was that, okay, so before I say what got to me, I want everyone in the comment section to drop 1 or 2 key points that you remember, that you took note of. So the one that really got to me was the mentioning, like us avoiding mentioning that we're going to do our PhD, because I was already going to say that. Because that was my plan. Like, I'm doing a second master's because I want to now do a PhD in that course. But thank you so much. That's really insightful, because like you said, Chevening is all about leadership and not just people trying to accumulate degrees. Thank you so much. So at the comment section, there are the links for our social media handles there, as well as the social media handles for all our speakers, so you can connect with them, drop your thoughts, drop your comments, and do not forget to engage, because this session is actually very, very amazing, and anyone that is applying for the Chevening Scholarship needs to be on this platform. Oh, Angeli says she said that in her last application. Interesting. Thank you. So now I know not to mention that. Please drop your comments. I want to see one thing that you noted during this week. Avoid the we in your essay writing. Amazing, matron. I have structure, or rather plan. Thank you. That's amazing. Let me see. I think I was in the comments how to find the scholarship. Yes, Angeli says, I have now realized how many things I've mentioned and how that should have been avoided. Interesting. Veronica says, do not use AI tools. Thank you. Thank you. That's quite interesting. So keep engaging our social media platform. And if you think you enjoyed the first session, the next session is even going to be more amazing. And I have the amazing pleasure of inviting our next speaker, Sarah Kuponiyi. Sarah Kuponiyi is a menstrual health equity advocate from Nigeria and has over 5 years experience in public health development. She serves as the founder and CEO of Alora. She's committed to tackling menstrual health challenges among rural girls and enhancing the lives of women and girls with accessible and sustainable menstrual health solutions. In addition to her role at Alora, Sarah leads a well-informed adolescent initiative, a nonprofit organization focused on improving access to sexual and reproductive health services and combating gender inequality. Sarah holds a master's degree of public health, specializing in sexual reproductive health from the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, United Kingdom. Sorry about that. As an emerging leader in public health and social entrepreneurship, Sarah is passionate about creating lasting impact on the global stage, particularly in the lives of women and girls. Her innovative and passionate approach to social justice has spurred significant change in communities. If you are excited, please drop your favorite emoji in the chat box as we welcome Sarah Kuponiyi.
Hi, hello everyone. Good evening from Nigeria. Can you all hear me?
Hi, Miss Sarah. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. Pardon me, I might not be able to turn my video on because I'm just entering inside like a space. I've been on transit. I'm so happy to be here to share my experience and some 1 or 2 tips. Thank you for having me.
Okay, yes, we are so glad we have you here, Sarah Kuponiyi. So we are about to begin your session where she would be speaking on what to expect once you get in and how and where to plug after the scholarship. Over to you, Miss Sarah.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm faithful. So for what to expect, the thing is the program is a quite intensive one because the duration is short. It's not like other European countries or US masters, it's like 2 years. So it's 1 year, 6 months or thereabouts. So it's very intensive. So that's something to like have in mind, because when you get in, you just have to really like get the ground running. And then there are so many like, when you get to a new place, you're just trying to adjust to the culture, experiencing some culture shock, trying to fit in, but yet you still have to like hit the ground running in terms of going to classes, understand what you're being taught. And for us coming from Africa, they have like very different teaching styles. So for me, my experience at first, it was like a bit different. And I've been out of school. I finished my undergrad in 2016, and I've been like working and then going for masters in 2022. Like I had to resign from my job to go for the masters. So it's been um it's been a while, so it felt a bit challenging for me. So me talking about my experience now to adjust into the system, and then learning about the way UK educational system works, how they grade, the way they grade the essays they write and what have you. So those were the peculiarities, and looking at how intensive it is and the timeline, it's like a marathon that you just have to, like, everything is just so fast paced, and that can be quite challenging to adjust in. So you should expect that it is like intensive, fast paced master's program. So you have to like learn everything within a short time frame. Learn everything within a short time frame. That's my experience. So that's my experience. Also, so what else to expect is that UK is an amazing place. Yeah, you meet lots of amazing people. You have different events being organized by Chevening its program themselves. Like you have cultural activities, you have networking events. So you have your program officers visiting you in your school. Maybe twice before you finish your program. So it's usually giving you there's this soft landing, because it's a fellowship, it's a scholarship program by the UK government. So you have this soft landing. You're not like paying school fees yourself. So you have like everything to dedicate to your studies. Another thing to expect is that, the school, depending on every school have their own peculiarity, but definitely there are system in place to support students. Either you have tutors or you have advisor. So you have like different supports for mental health, for every form of different things. So it's usually puts you in this like a bubble life for you to just be able to have your program successfully. Even if there is any like challenges, like when you begin and then you're trying to like finding it hard to adjust, you can reach out to the program coordinator, share your challenges, and then they provide solutions, give you some alternatives on what to do. So those are there as well. And then for my school, we usually write essays, like essay exams. And then there were even opportunities for any students who maybe probably have issues to be able to rewrite their essay. So that is that you can rewrite it, although it comes with like a condition or a benchmark of a particular mark, but there's usually an opportunity to rewrite. So I think the experience is awesome. It's amazing experiencing a different educational system, what one is used to. So it's something that I definitely advise everyone to put in their effort to be able to get it. And I hope that through this webinar, you'll be able to get some tips on how to ace the application. So that was my experience for me. So it was an amazing 1 year, 6 months experience, and I was able to finish from LSTM, Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, with my master's in public health. I'm focusing on sexual reproductive health because my professional background, like my work experience, has been in the development space, implementing various public health projects on HIV prevention, sexual reproductive health, and adolescent health. So the other question I was told to respond to, I hope you can still hear me. Can you also
Yes,
hear me?
Miss Sarah, loud and clear. We can hear you.
Okay, so the other question is what to do and when, how to plug after the scholarship. After the scholarship, that's where the essay, the career essay plan comes in, because that's part of the things they would have wanted everyone to think about before even starting that journey. Because before you know it, 1 year, 6 months just goes. Like, you just be like, wow, I just came in. And when you come into a new place, you have the initial struggle to get to fit in, and by the time you're already readjusting, like settling down, your body is adjusting mentally and everything. That's when you'll be planning to leave again. So there's a roller coaster in between. So that's why I think that's why the career plan, the career essay plan is there to be able to guide you. So your immediate plan upon your return to your various country, and then your mid-term plan, and then your long-term plan. So that's like a guide, although it's not like fixed or cast in stone. Things can happen, life happens, but then it helps to be able to guide. So for me, upon my return, I've been able to like go back to my work, doing what I do, and still like leveraging on the relationship or the network that has been built through Chevening to continue my existing work. And before I left UK, earlier this year, I was able to get an early career research grant from Royal Society of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene in UK to carry out a research on menstrual health policies in English-speaking West African countries. So my faculty, one of the faculty in my school is my research supervisor. So I think that's like one of the benefit that can come with it. And then like that is what I've been able to work on upon my immediate return. I've been working on the research, been to Ghana, like doing so many things about that, and I'll be rounding up this year. So that's really, and that was something similar to what I wrote about for my immediate return. So, and I was happy that I was able to get that small grant to be able to carry out this research to look at menstrual health and how, if there are policies in West African countries, and how effective these policies are. So that's like the thing. So I would say, not for our essay, we should write it for writing's sake. We shouldn't just look at writing it to be able to scale through the first stage. We should write it for something that we really thought through, and even if life happens or anything changes, it will still be able to serve or help us as a guide to direct us when we return back to our country, because that can be a bit challenging when people come back and then it's for them to readjust back into the system that they left, and then for them to get their feet again. It can be a bit challenging. So that that's where the career essay really helps to come in here. So before I round up, I just want to say, I don't know if any question or any like tips have been given on the essay part. So I would just want to add, if that has been done, that we should endeavor to write our essay using the STAR approach. I don't know if we know that for Chevening essays, that is like what, like there, even it's on the website, like use the STAR approach, where you talk about the situation, the task, your action, and then results and reflection, learning, or whatever you gain out of it, and demonstrate. Don't just tell what you're doing, because like I think I heard Faith mentioning that Chevening is peculiar for someone making impact. So when you say making impact, you don't have to have your own initiative, like you're a founder. You can be volunteering. You can be volunteering in an organization. You can be working, like I was working with Joe Paigo, although I also have my own initiative. But I work with various organizations, INGO, as my own 9 to 5, while I still run my own initiative. So you can be working, as long as you can demonstrate, you can show that you're solving a particular problem. It doesn't have to be, it can be anything. It can be like waste management in the environment. Even if you're just like creating awareness about the need for us to have like a good waste system in the country, depending on how you're able to demonstrate that there is a problem and you're doing something about it, then you can be able to give yourself a shot at Chevening. So that's what Chevening is not even looking at if you are first class, or especially for the scholarship. Then when it comes to the university, each university have their own academic criteria that they look out for, which is different. But for the scholarship itself, it's peculiar for people making impact in their various communities. So I'm going to drop a link. There is a colleague of mine at Forwards that wrote a book, and it's quite extensive on the essay part. So, and it's free resources. I'm going to drop it on the chat box. We can download it and help us to read on how to write the essay very well. Also, I don't know if I can answer this one. I'm seeing a question from the chat that says, how do you calculate the number of hours? So you need to have like 2 years experience, work experience, before you apply for Chevening. And the work experience can be from your full-time, part-time, paid, non-paid, voluntary. But I don't think they don't accept, because I think it's firstly stated on the website that they do not accept like internship that speaks to your graduate degree. You know, in Nigeria we do what they call IT. So because it's part of your requirement for you to like get your undergraduate degree, so that is not counted. But any other one, maybe it's voluntary work, paid work, full-time, part-time work, 2 years, you can use it. So how do you calculate it now? When you're feeling that, they need to ask you, is it a full-time role? If you say it's a full-time role, the hours you put there, full-time or average full-time role is 8 hours. Don't go and put 10 hours. Don't go and put 4 hours, because there will be discrepancy. So when you already click in the word that is full-time, average full-time is 8 hours, and that's like 8 hours 5 days in a week. So 8 times 5, you'll be able to calculate it that way. So try and not exaggerate numbers or like reduce numbers. So if you say part-time, then you know that maybe it's 4 hours, it's 3 hours or 5 hours. So just put it. And then if it is voluntary full-time, same thing. Just try and be conscious of the way you put your numbers in this thing. And you can have more than 2 years experience, you can still put it, it's there. But it's just that when you're putting that number, don't exaggerate number, because if you exaggerate number, like you say full-time and you're putting like 4 hours, it doesn't tally. Or you say part-time and you're putting 8 hours, it doesn't tally. So that's like, those are the things they first use. I think the first grading is the system, like it's a computerized stuff. It's just use that hours before anyone will even read the essay. It's used especially that hours to just like sift out the application first before it's now passed to people like human beings that read the essay, and then before the interview. So that's what I just want to say. So I've dropped the link to the documents. It's free resource, you can download it. It's really talk more about how to write your essay very well. And I don't know if there is any other thing to talk about. I've shared my experience and what to expect, and your career plan as well.
Oh, Miss Sarah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this session. It has been really insightful. And one thing I just want to remind everyone is that Miss Sarah mentioned she finished her bachelor's degree in 2016, and she did her master's in the year 2022. Just one thing I have to say is you don't have to rush for it. You don't have to like say, oh, now that I'm done with my master's, let me do let me do my master's degree so that these people will see dust. These people will see me. They will know that I go to school. You might go to school, and you might continue to do your master's without a reason as to why you want it, and you'll find yourself. I think I'll call it course jumping, because then you would do one course and then jump to do the other, and then jump to do the other, just because you want to show others you're doing it. And literally, you will not have a purpose for as to why you are taking this course. And Miss Lilian mentioned to us that you must have a reason as to why you're doing your master's degree. It's not just because you want to do it. It's not just because you want to get the scholarship, because you know, oh, I have never been to the UK and I can see Chevening is giving us a fully funded scholarship. So let me try and apply, then go show my people back home, take photos and show them that, oh, I've also been here. And, you know, so without any further ado, I know most of us have questions and we've already started dropping them on the chat. And please drop as many questions as you want, because we are getting to the most fun part where we can also interact more or learn more, even from our facilitators. One, things that we don't know, things that we are unclear about, things that we want to understand much, much better. And I will just go to the first two questions, which I am going to throw them to Miss Olivia. And someone says, Kadijatu says, I have a question. Is it compulsory to return to your various country after the scholarship? And the second one, oh, I also have this question. I really need to know the answer to that. And the second one is, what is the maximum number of words required in the essay writing under each structures or questions? So these first two questions, I'm going to throw them to Miss Lilian.
Thank you so much, Charlene. So I'd start by saying, remember I say this, the scholarship is way different from the others. And the reason you must return to your home country is because that is where, as you are writing your application, that is where your impact was, or that is where the UK government and your home country, that partnership, the fruits of the partnership would be seen in your home country. So yes, you must return. And as you're filling in, if you go through the website, one of the conditions is the 2-year return rule. So yeah, you're not just returning to your country, but yeah, you must return for a 2-year period. Why is this the case? Most of the time when you go abroad, of course, you get opportunities, work opportunities. And if you are one who would be easily tempted to remain in the UK, then again, this would not be the right scholarship for you. So I would say there are other scholarships that would give you that leeway. And when it comes to the word count, so I would say if you're in the application portal, the word count is on each essay. I think it's 500 words per each essay. So all this is, once you start your application, you will see the word count. And easier thing to do is write your essays in a Word document. That way, you can easily monitor the number of words that you have. I also forgot to mention one thing. By the time you're doing your career plan essay, remember to link. So remember to link the career with one of the UN SDG goals. Another thing I noticed, I'm a current scholar, is in my country, Kenya, if you look at the list of people who are selected, there's a theme. There's a theme in terms of the courses we are doing, and they are so in tune with UK's priorities for like 2024 to 2030. So I would advise each of you to go to do your research in terms of, is the course you want to do, is the career path you're on already one of the key priority areas between the UK government and your country? That way, it becomes easier as applications are being received and you're given like some priority because you're already aligning with the UN Sustainable Development Goals as well as the UK priority areas. So yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for the response, Ms. Lilian. And the third question has already been answered by Ms. Sarah. And sorry, this is not, I'm not leaning on you so much, but then I'm going to throw this question to you again, Ms. Lilian. If by the time I get the Chevening Scholarship, I obtain an unconditional offer from another university other than the 3 I mentioned in my application, will the scholarship still be valid? And so I'm just going to add another question related to that. I have already selected 3 universities. The problem is they've all indicated that for one to be considered for the scholarship, you have to select them as a first choice. How do I rank them? And how do I rank them when they all want to be number 1? So maybe you can also take the 2 questions again.
Thank you. It's amazing that the questions are like lived experiences of myself or even Sarah will give. So my case was, like I said earlier, going to the website, I decided to go with universities that were already Chevening partners and were offering the course in the theme of my area. So I had 3 universities. By the time I was going for my interview, I realized that, you know what? So this is the thing. I always apply for more than 3 universities, and I'll explain also why. So I applied to close to 6 universities. And of course, because of the application, I just wrote 3. But there are instances where, like my case, once I attended the interview, it's only at that interview stage that you're able to change your university. So you could make your application. By the time you're making your application, you have not applied to any university. So that means you don't have any offer. There's no problem. You can still apply to universities after submitting your application. However, I'd also advise you to immediately start applying for the universities, because sometimes, which is one of the questions that has been asked, the universities can tell you, make us your first choice. And maybe you don't want to make them your first choice. And so you're thinking, what should I do? So what I would say first is most people go for universities that already gave them unconditional offers. That's easier. Or if they give them conditional offers, then they're able to meet that condition of either doing the English test. For my case, I am in the University of Bristol. That was not in my 3 choices during my application. So what I realized is I already had unconditional offers for the universities that I chose. But researching deeper during my interview preparation, I noticed that, oh my goodness, Bristol has one module that I really need for the work that I do. And so I had to change my choice to Bristol at the interview stage. And it was also because I already had an unconditional offer. The other thing could be all the 3 universities you choose could send you a rejection. And so hence the reason it's advisable to always apply for more than 3 universities and ensure to secure an unconditional offer. I already gave the tips of doing that. And is there another question that I have not answered?
No, those are the 2 questions. The next 2 questions, I'm going to throw them to Miss Sarah. So one, Veronica asked, do I apply to universities to get admissions first? Then after getting admission letter is when I get to apply for the Chevening Scholarship? Or you can apply for the Chevening Scholarship without the admission letter? And then Ms. Akio also asks, if one is working in a country that is not your country of origin, can I still go back to the country I was working at? So Ms. Sarah, this is to you.
Okay. Okay, so you can, I think Chevening is on now and it's be closing in November. So the best is to apply to Chevening. You can be doing both simultaneously, like do your Chevening application and still be applying to the school, right? But if you really need to focus on your essay, then apply to Chevening. now and do your Chevening. Within application is still for admission. Admission application is still from August to December, even to January, right? For every country, it's usually summertime, which is August to December. So you can still be able to get admission, but you don't need any admission to apply to Chevening. When you're applying to Chevening, they will only ask you to like identify or talk about the schools you want to go for. So, but they will not ask you for any documentation. If you have it, I think there's like an optional stuff on the dashboard. You can upload it. But if you don't have, they don't grade you on it at all. So it is when you are selected after the first initial screening, and then you get to your essay has been read, and you get invited to the interview at the embassy. That one. Before that time, which is usually in the February, March, you must have admission, at least one admission. Because that's like going for that interview is already telling you that you're already one leg in. So it is that interview, you now prove yourself that you really are the person that wrote this essay, or talk more about the things that really happened again in the things you've been doing. And then they will ask you if you have the admission. So it's very important before that time. But now you might focus on your Chevening first, and after you submit your Chevening, then focus on your admission. But it's not like a criteria for you to like apply for Chevening that you need to have admission. Then for the second question, can I apply? No, the second question was talking about someone that is working in another country, right?
Yes, yes.
Working in a country that is not your country of origin.
Yes, it wasn't their country of origin, but they're in another country and they applied. So can they come back to the country that they were in, or they have to go back to their country of origin?
You don't need to travel anywhere to apply. It's an online application. So when you're applying, when you go to the Chevening website, each country is listed there, like each eligible country that is allowed to apply for Chevening seat. So you click on your country, because it has to be your country, not where you're working, because you have your passport, like all this stuff to do later on at the embassy. So it's not like you can be anywhere and apply for it. Right? You don't need to be in your country to apply for it, but you know your country. So when you are on your application dashboard, you pick your country of origin. So when it's now time, if you're selected, you can definitely travel back. If you're called for interview, you go to your country to do your interview. Because you can't, except if you have documentation like cities or to show that you can, like, you have a right in that country where you're working. So I don't know, that's like to the best of my knowledge, but the application is online, so you can put your country of origin, put your details, and if you scale through, get called for the interview, you go to your country embassy. They usually even ask, okay, since you're putting your country of origin, if for us in Nigeria, we usually get asked where we would like to have our interview, because we have two, either in the Abuja, or at the consulate in Lagos. So you can have two options. And then I think some countries don't even have any consular office, so they have to travel to another country to do their or have a virtual interview, and then go to another country to do their visa stuff. So that's to the best of my knowledge how I can answer that. I don't think you need to put the country where you're working. It's your country of origin that matters. But if it's still not clear, that's to the best of my, you can email Chevening. Like, there is an email to ask them questions and to clarify on that. Is there another one?
Yes, thank you so much, Miss Sarah. Probably you can just quickly answer this one. So can you apply before you get your undergraduate certificate in a case where you are waiting for your graduation? And also just one more. One more. How many examples would you suggest to insert in each essay? So probably you're writing an essay and you need to give examples of experiences you've had. How many can you insert?
Okay, so for the first one, have you finished your program? Like, have you finished your program, and can you get your transcript or your statement of results? But if you can get that, but you've not done like the ceremony, that's fine, you can apply. But if you've not, like, you can't get those documents to prove that you finish your program, I don't think so you can apply, because you will need those documents. So even if it's they accept the unofficial one, like I think I used my unofficial ones, like student statements or student transcripts. Or if it's like you're still in the program, no, you can't apply because you have to finish. And the other one, for me, I use 2 examples in all my essay. So it depends on how you can manage your words. And I'll still refer back to that free resource that I shared. So please download the book and digest the essay part. You even see sample examples of essays. You don't need to copy them, but at least it shows you how Chevening essay looks like. And you'll be able to use it to help you to first think, brainstorm on your own story and how to tell your own story. So that's it. All right,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Sarah. And just with not forgetting this, it's more like having a whole buffet and you forget that you did not have one meal. I'm gonna invite Miss Sharuna to tell us about the background, because then I've seen there is a question about what are the eligibility criteria to get to the Chevening Scholarship. And I would like to call upon Miss Sharuna Doyal to tell us a brief about the background, the what, why, who should apply, when should it be applied, how should it be applied, and also where about this Chevening Scholarship. So thank you. Welcome, Ms. Sharuna.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me tonight. So my name is Sharuna Doyal. I'm a psychologist in Mauritius. I'm a Chevening scholar, as you guessed, but I am also the Alumni UK's regional ambassador for Sub-Saharan Africa. So this is the first time that the British Council and UK alumni have this going on. And we're trying to get all the alumni to sort of keep in touch and continue networking and, hopefully work together. So very happy to be here tonight. I'm going to, I will apologize in advance in case I repeat something that's been said earlier, because I joined a bit late. And feel free to ask me questions. There's so much to talk about the Chevening Scholarship, and I'm sure I'm not going to be able to cover everything. So what exactly is the Chevening Scholarship? It is, I think, one thing that, sometimes we get a bit lost in all the opportunities, and we sort of forget that the Chevening Scholarship is a scholarship for you to study in the UK. So it is a master's degree. So the very first thing that you need to have is an undergrad degree. So in my experience, of course, it's not really mentioned if you look at the criteria, the selection criteria, but you not only have to have sort of an undergrad degree, but you also need to be like a mid-career professional or a young professional, because the point of the scholarship is that the UK wants to, in a way, train someone who will go back to their country and continue doing the outstanding work that they're already doing. So in my experience, you need to have that degree, and you need to have already done some amount of really impressive work for your community, for your country, to be considered eligible and to really have a chance, because we need to remember that the Chevening Scholarship is extremely competitive as well. So what exactly it is, they're going to pay for everything, but it is on you. It is your responsibility to sort of really find out what you want to study, what you want to study, and the subject, the masters that you want to study, where is a good place or where's the best place for you to study that in the UK? Because when you start answering the questions, there's a very important question that asks you to in a way defend your choices. So your university, for example, needs to be very, very clear. Your choice needs to be clear, and you need to know why you chose that particular university. I think I'd like to, since I've been given 10 minutes, I'd like to really quickly go through my personal experience, and maybe that will inspire you. And then I'm very happy to take questions. So I'm a government servant. I work for the police force in Mauritius. And to be honest, I already have a master's degree. So I'm a clinical psychologist, and I have a master's degree in clinical psychology. So I never thought about doing a second master's degree. But when COVID hit and we were in confinement, what happened was, so I work with police officers, and I met a lot of them who, for some strange reason, had a lot of, they had a lot of things going on with the internet and social media, because a lot of people were at home, we were confined, we couldn't go out. So they started using a lot more, of the chatting sort of platforms that we know, right? So then what happened was I started thinking, there is something that is connected, that connects mental health to everything online. So social media, definitely, but also that kind of interaction that was happening between people. So I started researching that, and I came across this branch of psychology called cyber psychology, and I told myself, this is exactly what I want to study. So one of the local study institutions had a person brought in from a university that I wanted to study at, which was Nottingham Trent University, and I went to meet them. So when I met them, they helped me calculate how much that would cost. And the first thing that I thought was, this is impossible. There's no way I can afford that on my salary. And then I started looking for ways to finance that, because I was very, very sure that having that second master's in this field that nobody had heard about in my country would give me an edge for the work that I do. So this is what my Chevening application was based on, right? So I was very clear about the choice. I was very clear about the university, because that was the only university that offered a degree like that in the UK. So you also cannot, I think just a little side note, so you cannot do a master's by research. You have to do a taught master's, which means that you have to go to university all of the semesters, give you assignments in, give you exams as well for some papers, etc. So that was very clear for me. Now, I was very lucky. I applied, I made a very strong case, and I got the scholarship on the first trial. But I know people who keep applying years after years, and especially in the UK, when I met a lot of my friends, they would tell me, some people had applied for 7 years and they finally got it. So if it does not work out this year for you, do not despair. Maybe you need to put in a bit more work. Maybe you need to probably work on selling yourself better, or on picking a different university, or picking a different choice, right? So that was very clear for me. Now, for me, what really is important, I think, wherever you are in the journey of applying, I think the first thing that you need to understand is that you need to be eligible and to satisfy the university's criteria first. Because when you're applying for the Chevening Scholarship, you are also applying to a university. And if you do not get a seat at the university, that means that you can use your Chevening Scholarship. So in a lot of cases, you have people who have the scholarship, and then they cannot secure seats at the university. So then they have to, they can't take up the scholarship, because the scholarship works in partnership with those universities, right? So for me, for example, was the scholarship and the university together that kind of takes care of you. So the university criteria are very important, and I'd suggest you start looking at those also at the same time. In terms of eligibility, there's no age criteria. I've met people who had, 10, 20 years of research behind them, I've also met people who were in their 20s as well. So age is not really a criteria. What matters is what you have done in your life and in your journey as a leader in your country, and how have you been, in a way, have you demarcated yourself from the others, or how has your work have had an impact on the society where you are or in the community? And I think those are very important. Why should you apply to a Chevening Scholarship? It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it really opens doors for you. So once you're a Chevening scholar, I think my friends on the platform will testify. It really opens doors. It looks amazing on your CV. It's some of our Chevening scholars are doing absolutely beautiful work all around the world. A lot of them are in policy making. Some of them are even in active politics in their countries. And TheALI is really packed with leaders and, all of these people who are shakers and movers and everybody. Now, how do you, so what's the waiting period? It is quite long. And I would suggest that you really do not make the mistake of thinking that this is one of those scholarships that you're going to start applying on the day. So one day before the closing date, and then finish everything and send them, because you need recommendations, you need a lot of research. You need to find out a lot about your university. You need to find out about your course as well. And I think there's one thing that for me is very important is whatever it is that you want to go study in the UK, I think you need to be very, very clear with regards to why do you want to study that? And also, how is your country or your community going to benefit from you studying in the UK? Because remember, the Chevening is not a personal scholarship. Nobody, is giving money to go study in the UK. Eventually, what it is equipping your country community with the skills that you can acquire in the UK. So we do have a 2-year period that requires you to come back to your country and work, right? And of course, different countries have other criteria as well. So for example, because I work for the government, when I went, I was required by my workplace to come back and work for 4 years. So I was legally bonded. So we need to look into those criteria as well. Now, yes, so those are very important. In my experience, there are a few people who did not come right away after their final exam. They did not come back to their country. So some of them, very, very few, a couple of friends that I know, stayed back to do their PhD. So the Chevening Scholarship requires you to come back to your country and work, but it's also a little bit flexible in case you can show that you can be of a bigger asset. For example, by doing research there. Some of my friends also work for international organizations. So even though they're based elsewhere, their work does sort of help out their country and kind of targets the area where they are at. So there are exceptions. A lot of my friends from Ukraine, for example, were not required to go back to their country because they got political asylum and they could work in the UK as well right after their scholarship. But remember that the Chevening Scholarship is not really, it's not at all an immigration strategy. It just doesn't work, right? So that should be very clear. I think at this point, I am very happy to take questions. It's yes. So do I just look at the questions? Yes. So somebody asked if, so I think I spoke about the Chevening, so the eligibility criteria. So if you can apply before you get your undergrad certificate, you will have to post
Ms. Sharuna, thank you so much. I just have one question. I have one question for you. You mentioned that there is a friend of yours, like of a case where someone came and did their master's degree. They didn't have to go back home because they had to do some research and then get into their PhD. Okay, my question is not related to the master's and PhD, but then it's related to the kind of scholarship you're applying for. So I want to do my scholarship in human rights or human rights law. And there's sometimes I find some schools or some universities are offering method of teaching either can be taught or research-based. So which is the best that one can actually go for?
If you want to get a Chevening Scholarship, I think the Chevening Scholarship, but again, that you need to check that on the criteria. So for me, the best place to check is on the official website. Not what people are talking about, not the chat groups, etc. So go to the official website. If I am not mistaken, you can only apply for taught masters. Now, what's really interesting is that sometimes you think that studying in the world is very expensive, but if you want to study through research, there are lots of avenues, lots of opportunities for you to find cheaper alternatives. So, for example, let's say you want to study human rights, which is an incredibly fascinating topic and something that is highly in demand, right? So, let's say you want to study human rights in one country where you are, and that you've worked for a long time in your country, you have access, you have network, you have interesting support in your country, you could write to the person or to the university that you're interested to and tell them, look, I want to get a master's degree, but what I really want is to do research. Can you help me with that? Sometimes they will not be interested, and that happens as well. But most times, some people will get back to you and tell you, is there a way we can make it work? So sometimes you might be staying in your country, doing a bit of research, maybe going to the UK to finish off that research or to present your findings, for example. And I think for me, the UK has been that experience where people are very happy to help you and they go out of their way to do that. So I wouldn't despair if I was you. I would say, go for it, try to seek the help and try to seek networking as well. So follow their work, look them up on LinkedIn, look them up on ResearchGate and find the contacts, and especially with someone who's work you really appreciate and you want to work with them. A lot of people will not say no to you. But again, all of the financial issues, there are a lot of other ways as well. It's not just, a fully funded scholarship that can help.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sharuna, for that session. Everyone, I'm sure you've had an amazing, amazing session. Can you drop your favorite emoji in the chat box? It has been an amazing session. I particularly have learned so much from this session, and I believe and I'm rooting for every single one of you applying for the Chevening Scholarship. I hope that the tips that we have learned from this session will be very impactful in your application process, and we are cheering you on from where we are. Okay, hi Lucy, thank you so much. So it is time for our family photo. So every one of you, if you can, please put on your cameras as we take the picture. So I want to see the beautiful, beautiful faces of the people on this. Hello, I'm not seeing anybody's camera on. Okay, yes, are you ready? The beautiful, beautiful faces. Oh. So at the count of 3, do we have everyone's camera on? If you can't, that's fine, understandable. So at the count of 3, we take our family picture. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, and smile. Thank you so much. Thank you to all our facilitators, to my amazing sister, Shelly from Kenya. Thank you so much. It has been an amazing session. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. It is good night and have a wonderful week. Thank you.